There is no need to look for reasons for anti-Semitism. It existed as long as we did and has accompanied our nation throughout our history. But sometimes it increased and sometimes decreased. And we would like to know how we can reduce it, at least by a bit. The coronavirus pandemic, for some reason, became an impetus for growth of anti-Semitism. Why? Every now and then we see the news highlighting the neglect of safety precautions by Jews from one group or another. Everyone sees that every segment of American population has violators. I saw both private videos and media mentions showing many non-Jews breaking the rules not any less than Jews. There's no evidence even hinting that Jews ignore the regulations more than others. But on TV and even in the statements of some politicians, we see the emphasis being made on Jews. Why? Of course, a part of the explanation may be simple anti-Semitism. But is that all? Journalists and politicians who have never been seen as anti-Semites before are also often highlighting Jews specifically. Henry Louis Mencken was one of the greatest American journalists of the first half of the 20th century. He lived in Baltimore, and many will say that he influenced a whole generation of journalists. He was not Jewish. He often denigrated Jews in his writings and used ethnic slurs. But was he anti-Semite? I have here a book written by a friend of mine and a friend of our community, David Thaler. The book is dedicated specifically to this issue. The author emphasizes that Mencken also wrote positive things about Jews. And he said that he is against religious or ethnic discrimination. Mencken had many Jewish close friends. And I think we need to focus on them for a little bit. These were all German Jews. The Baltimore Jewish community was founded by German Jews who, for the most part, were assimilated, educated, and wealthy. At the beginning of the 20th century, many Jews from Eastern Europe started coming to Baltimore. They were mostly poor, uneducated, and more religious. German Jews did not accept them. They were afraid that East European Jews would damage the image of Jewish community. And German Jews tried to prove to everyone on the outside of the Jewish community that these poor, religious, primitive people are not part of them. To do this, they believed that they had to be the first ones to publicly criticize these other Jews. They felt the need to be the ones to highlight the problems of their embarrassing brethren to their non-Jewish friends. Not surprisingly, these non-Jewish friends, in their minds, were focused on these bad Jews. If they were writers or public figures, they wrote and spoke about them. And then disproportionate coverage of these bad Jews started fanning the flames of general anti-Semitism. Sounds familiar? I saw time and again how Jews try to distance themselves from other Jews because they believe they ruin the image of their people. They become the first ones to run to non-Jews, criticizing them. They consider it their duty to attack the embarrassing Jews so that everyone will know that they are not part of them. As in Stalinist courts, people had to publicly disown their relatives who did something wrong. These are other Jews, religious, uneducated, primitive, poor, not like us, enlightened, modern, sophisticated. Besides, for them, criticism of these other Jews allowed these Jews to feel as if they are objective and balanced. You see, I'm Jewish and I am open-minded enough to criticize other Jews. And all that non-Jewish friends would hear from their Jewish friends is bad-mouthing of other Jews. Probably these other Jews are really bad if the Jews themselves always talk about it. These non-Jewish friends would obviously think that. But then it translated into the general anti-Semitism that started affecting all the Jews. And this is how we Jews often help the spread of anti-Semitism.